Here on Big Shot Bowling, and to get it started is Bob Kelly. Bob Kelly against Dan Murphy. And Kelly dropping down 5 on the first ball.
That's interesting. That's one of the trick shots that Bob drew. Should he win the second string, he would have to leave that lead.
Kelly missing everything on his second. He's a quality bowler. And a 5 box. A very disappointing 5 for Bob Kelly as he starts it off here on Big Shot Bowling. He'll be taking on defending champ Dan Murphy. Kelly slapping down 8 on the first ball.
This is a tricky piece of wood. He wants to go high on the wood as if it wasn't there, right on the 5 pin, I think. That's what he was shooting for. Just a little bit off.
Misfires, cost him a spare. The Portsider makes his home in Stoneham, Mass. That's why he had to go around it, Don. It was ugly wood.
Certainly was. He hit the cap on it that time, which again was deflective.
A 13 for Kelly after a couple, and here's defending champ Dan Murphy. Murphy with a light hit. Last week he blew away John Zernicke with a 418 to John's 342.
Oh, what a try.
Dan hoping to come out of this with a 10 count. And a 9 box for the champ, Dan Murphy. En route to his victory last week over John Zernicke, he had strings of 128, 153, and a 137.
Bombs away.
There it is, the strike off the ball of Dan Murphy. As we peek at it again.
1-3 pocket. Last finger goes to 4.
Here's Kelly. Kelly so far a bit shaky in the first string.
It's sometimes hard to get going in a match, especially if you're bowling somebody who's been caught with Danny Murphy. You're going to be a little bit apprehensive. But I'm sure Bob will get on his game and give us a good show here. He's good at bowling, aren't you?
21 after 3 for Kelly. Kelly spanking down a half dozen, looking down at the diamond lead. Or the bucket leave, whichever you prefer, Don Riley.
Dinner bucket.
Split it.
It always sounds better to me if it's some way you can note food.
And a 10 box for Bob Kelly. Kelly with a 31 after 4. And Murphy is looking for the double. Filling on a strike.
Boy, he's still nice and loose. Just letting the ball do all the work. That's what happens when you're bowling well.
Looking for a spare on the strike. And he gets it. 2 marks in a row now for Dan Murphy. A strike spare.
Got away with that one.
Got a 7 count on the spare. Moved the 6 pin, but it didn't drop.
This should go fairly routinely. Wood just now he hit it too full.
Too full on the object, and it cost him a mark. Ten count. So Dan Murphy on the plus side here in the early going of this match. A 56 to a 31 over challenger Bob Kelly.
There we go.
Getting a ball. Took the 6 a couple of moments to drop. Here it is again, Don Riley. You can call it.
1-2 pocket. Smashes down all the pins. Just like it was one, and then one electric pin at the end. Here's another one, maybe.
Ooh, Kelly going for the double, leaving the 7. If anyone gets a triple, he'll win himself a trip for two to Atlantic City. Compliments of Fresh Pond Travel of Natick, Mass. The spare on the strike for Kelly here in the first string. Murphy with the lead by 25.
Carried the extra pin again, boy.
Going to chase down the 6. Pin picking time for champ Dan Murphy.
He does a pretty good job of picking the pins.
Right on the money for the spare. He went against the strike with a spare.
Spare with a strike.
Just the opposite for Murphy against Kelly. Kelly had the strike in the 5th and then the spare. Murphy did it in reverse.
Pocket, light hit, the 2 pins on the left, the 4th, and the 6th pin for Amran.
Kelly coming back and bringing them all down but one. And he has an easy spare lead. Some lumber right out there in front of the pin. Got it. 3 marks in a row now for Bob Kelly. Strike, spare, spare.
He's really been on the head pin the last 3 boxes.
Put the curse on him that time. Half dozen on the spare.
It's interesting, too, if Bob should, let's see, is it Dan or Bob that has this? If Bob should win the first string, this is exactly what he has to do. He has to leave the 4 horsemen on the left, so he's getting a lot of practice on his potential jackpot shots.
Tony Zernicke cleaning out the unplayable wood. Kelly tips over the 4 horsemen for the mark. He now has 1 strike and 3 spares. 4 marks in a row for Bob Kelly here in the first string. Here's Dan Murphy. Dan the man working on a strike, leaving the 5, 7, and the 10. And to tell you how to play it is the expert here on Big Shot Bowling, Don Riley.
Well, Dan's got 2 shots. He'll either play the cap of the wood in front of the 10 pin, or he'll go for the 5 pin and try and play. That's what he never change a good mind, Bob.
8 on the strike for Murphy. Murphy with a 94 after 6. And a 9 count. Murphy with a 103 after 7. Kelly with a 96 plus a ball going for him when he moves into his 9th box. Murphy dropping 8, looking down at the 4 and the 8. Some wood out there. Times it can be tricky. It can psych you up.
Certainly can.
Now it's moving away.
That's just what he wants it to do. A clear shot of that is much better than having the wood in there. The wood's still playing games.
I'd play the wood, Don.
He wouldn't get the spare. Unfortunately, neither did Dan.
Good try. Got the 4, slipped it right by the 8. And a 10 box. So here we go. We're down to the final 2 boxes in the first string. In this match, these guys will go head-to-head for 3 strings. Kelly can close the gap.
Yes, he can, and he did.
Yes! Got the strike. So Kelly right back into this match. He's trailing by 7, but he got a strike. Here it goes again.
1, 2, 3. Same pin goes down left at 6-10. Well, a little disappointed with that ball.
Working on the strike. He dropped 4. Oh. Kelly got off to a very slow start, a 5 and then a couple of 8s and then a 10, and man, then he's been marking up until this box. Ends up with an 8 and a total of a 130. Good comeback by Bob Kelly. Here's Dan Murphy. Murphy with a 113 with 2 left here in the first.
Good pocket hit.
Wraps down 8. Going after the 5 and the 8 for what he hopes will be a spare.
throw at the 5 and hope the ball carries the 8. That's it.
Got it. So now Murphy with 2 strikes and 3 spares.
Looks like Dan is going to be shooting at the jackpot this string. Ooh. That's an interesting lead. You don't see that too often. You don't want to either.
No. The 1, 2, and 4, and then off to the right we have the 6, 9, and 10.
Nice try.
Great try by Murphy. Murphy will win this string.
And he'll be shooting at the 4th to knock out the 4, 7, 8.
And if he gets that, he'll win himself a $250 gift certificate. A 10 and a total of a 137. So good bowling by both guys once they got it rolling. A 137 for Murphy and a 130 for Kelly. We'll be back with string number 2 in the problem shot right after we roll away for these messages.
Shot. He needs to knock out the 4, 7, and 8 pins, the triangle on the left. This side.
Got the 7. Had he knocked him out, he would have picked himself up a $250 gift certificate. Compliments of 6 Gun Productions. Dan starting up the second string on lane number 29.
Off the head pin. That's one of the wilder balls we've seen Dan Murphy throw.
Dan in the first string had a 137. Kelly with a 130.
Catch. Yep.
Yes! Got the kickback for the spare. That's the 4th spare for Murphy. Here it is again.
Ball on the right side of the head pin off the side wall and knocks down the 8 pin on the rebound.
Both bowlers in the first string had a couple of strikes and 3 spares. Murphy filling it in with, let's see. Is that 7 going to tip? Nope. With 6. Murphy, our defending champ. Last week he had a win over John Zernicke, stopping Zernicke after 4 wins. Oh, nice try by the champ.
I wondered if he would do that, try that wood completely.
And a 10 count. Spare 6 and then a 10 for a 26 after a couple. This the beginning of the second string here on Big Shot Bowling. Big Shot Bowling, a property of 6 Gun Productions. The president of 6 Gun Productions, John E. Liggum. That's L-I-G-U-M-S. Kelly on lane 29.
This is very unusual. The first 3 boxes of this string to see both bowlers miss the head pin on every first ball. But you won't catch these guys doing that often. Thank you, Bob.
The Bob you're thanking is the one down on lane number 30.
Yes, he hit the head pin.
It wasn't this Bob up here. I got the head pin the other night, Don.
Okay.
I had a great match against my wife, Barbara. She had a 91 and I had an 81. And then I took my balls and went home.
I understand.
8 and 9 for 17. After a couple for Kelly. Murphy with 26 after 2. Here's Murphy on lane 29. And he splashes down 8.
He wants a nice full hit on this. This is one time when you want to punch out the half lifter.
Got it. Spear number 5 in this match for Murphy. All the bowlers that appear on Big Shot Bowling are members of the World Candlepin Bowlers Congress.
Head pin.
7 drop on the mark.
That wood could be of some help. If it, no, it's going to roll out in front of the shot. No. It still could be utilized if he was to go for the right-hand cap, the wood in the middle, while shooting at the lead pin on the right.
Murphy eyeballing the situation that you see on the screen. Yes!
Perfect.
Superlative spare by Dan Murphy.
on the right, the cap and the front pin all at the same time. It went just like one.
Murphy now with a half dozen spares and a couple of strikes. Here's Kelly. Kelly trailing in this string by 9 and the match by 16.
The thing with Bob Kelly, he's probably one of the most explosive bowlers on the Pro Tour. He throws an awful lot of strikes.
Oh, great spare by Kelly. Kelly picking up his 4th spare.
At any time, he's apt to throw 3 strikes in a row and think nothing of it. That's really his game. Although he's a good spare shooter, he's awfully explosive. Got to be a real good spare shooter to make this one.
4 on the mark for Kelly. 31 after 3 now.
Ooh, look at that.
Oh, my, get over. Oh, he stopped his big right foot, but it didn't drop, meaning the 10-pin. Great try by Kelly. And a 10.
Certainly was an all-out effort on that shot. That was a good try.
In this string, 41 to 43. Murphy on the front side, and he whacks down 9.
I don't know how that pin stood. Nothing went near it.
Going down after the 8. Fill of 9 on the spare for Murphy. Right on target.
Right on target.
7 spares and a couple of strikes now for the champ. Dan Murphy from Concord, New Hampshire. An average of a 125. Been bowling candle pins for 29 years. He's 36 years of age and climbing. And also climbing on the scoreboard.
He sure is. I'm just looking at this. He's 30 pins over this string. He's 67 pins over at the halfway point. He's looking at another 400 here, Bob, I think.
Murphy with another spare. His ball is on fire.
Outstanding.
Bob Kelly, who once had a 210 on television, and he did it against the guy who's sitting beside me here in the press box, Don Riley. And Don, you had a 152, I believe.
That's correct. I believe, to our knowledge, that is the highest recorded single string on television by anybody.
Between 2 guys?
And between 2 guys as well. Yeah, 362. It's 181 average. I think that would be hard to tell.
Checking in at the scoreboard here on Big Shot Bowling, 51 after 5 for Kelly, and look at Murph. Kelly off target, but had a good drop. But a tough lead.
Very tough lead. Tony's going down to check that wood. If the wood is good, he's going to have to play it. There's no clear way of getting at the head pin without playing the wood. So he'll aim at the cap and hope he can drive it back and hit the 9-pin while getting the head pin.
Oh, wow!
This is the way it was supposed to be.
What a shot for the spare. We're going to be taking a break and watch this one,
cap of the wood. Right on it. And the ball takes the 9-pin on the flag.
Lights out. After 6 here in the second. Here's the score. Murphy on the plus side. It's a good one. We'll be back with the remainder of the string, but first, let's pause. Picking up the action here in the second, Dan Murphy working on a spare. He has 4 in a row and 5 out of 6 boxes so far. And he was a little bit off target, got in too full on the 2-pin, missing the object. So a fill of a 5.
Nice shot. What do I know?
That's where he had to go, though. Just a shade too light, Don.
Yeah, that's exactly. It drifted a little bit toward the end, whereas it looked like it was going to have more splash to it.
And an 8. So Dan now with a 103 as he moves into the 8th frame here in the second string. In the first string, he carved out a 137. Drops down 8, leaves the 4 and the 8. Looking for another spare.
Hopefully the wood won't deflect here.
Nope, it didn't. 9 spares along with a couple of strikes for Murphy. Kelly so far in the match with a couple of strikes and 5 spares. Bob had a 130 game in the first. Get over 10 pin. Nope.
Basically the same shot with or without it.
He was filling in on a spare. Got a half dozen. Oh! 7 is still there. Good try by Big Bob Kelly. Kelly with a 9 box. 76 after 7.
Going to need a big finish here to keep himself in the match. A break of sorts. That ball was off the head pin, but he's got a relatively routine spare leave.
Bob Kelly.
Ooh, off the head pin again.
Yep, got the wood. Came back and got the object pin, but the 7 is still there. Won't count, get in the gutter. It's a 9 box. So Kelly now with an 85 with 2 remaining, and Murphy with a 113 plus a ball as he moves into his final 2 here. Oh man, he wanted the 6 and 10 to get down, and that it did. Still of an 8. Murphy climbing to a 121.
2-4. On the 2, right.
Got it.
4.
10 spares now for Murphy, along with a couple of strikes. Another solid game for Dan Murphy. Big 5 lead.
And Bertha Perangeli puts it up on the scoreboard. Bertha is our scorekeeper as usual. And old reliable Tony Zernicke out there on the lob line.
Danny's going to have a 140 game, 140 plus. 146 for Dan Murphy, along with a 137. Not too shabby.
283. That's probably what I'll be bowling when I get back to bowling. 3 straight. I haven't bowled all summer.
Backdoor action happening for Kelly on lane number 29. He's down by a whole bunch, 43 to be exact, according to Michelle. Whoop. You can explain what happened there, Don.
Yeah, the wood started to roll. Bob started to go, and the wood decided it would too. So Bob had to wait until it did its thing, and it's gone, and he's ready, and
tough one.
Unfortunately, did not convert.
Winner of this show will pick up $200. The runner-up, $100. Also, the winner and the runner-up will receive trophies from George Girton Trophy Center, located at 138 Southbridge Street in Worcester, Mass. Kelly in his final box here in this second. Murphy concluded his second with a 146.
Dan will be shooting to knock out the 189 when we come back to the jackpot shot. Bob made that again. It's the second time he's made the
Second time he's lassoed the 4 horsemen for a spare. And the problem shot will be going to the champ, Dan Murphy. And if he hits it, he'll get himself a $250 gift certificate, compliments of Big Shot Bowling.
There's the ball Bob's looking for.
A 9 on the spare, and a total of a 114, along with a 130 for a 2-string count of a 244. You can see Dynamite Dan with a 283. We'll be back with string number 3 and the problem shot that will be presented to the champ, Dan Murphy, right after we roll away for these messages.
Knock out the 1, 8, and 9 pins, which is a very hard thing to do. Almost impossible.
That's why we gave him the shot. That was the problem shot presented here on Big Shot Bowling. Had he got it, he would have won himself a gift certificate, compliments of Big Shot Bowling and 6-gun production. Well, here is Bob Kelly to start up the 3rd and final string. He's trailing by 39 pins.
Bob almost fell, and lucky for him he didn't, because he has a pretty relatively easy spare here.
So So far, Kelly has 2 strikes and half dozen spares. Make it 7 spares now in the match. Kelly once again recapping his first 2 strings. Started up with a 130 and then a 114 for a 2-string count of a 244.
Off the head pin. This has not been Bob's best day. He has not been consistently on the head pin. Seems to find it and lose it.
Ooh, he found the bunny hole that time.
Not the way he wanted to start the string.
Spare, 4, and now an 8. For 22 after a couple. Here's Dan Murphy. Murphy so far with strings of 137 and 146. That's a triangle lead. 4, 7, and 8.
Not always the easiest spare, but when you're throwing the ball the way Dan Murphy is, I don't think any of them are that tough. Nope.
Shade too much to the wrong area.
Yeah. A little too full or not light enough or what have you.
Whatever. He ends up with a 10 count. Dan so far with a couple of strikes and 10 spares. Looking for his second win in a row here on Big Shot Bowling. When he's not down in the lanes, he's up here in the press box with me. And when he's on the lanes, Don Riley joins me. Dan, also the president of the WCBC.
Nice shot.
Great try by Kenny. And the vice president is working this match, Don Riley. A couple of 10s now for Murphy. Into the final string. The port side around lane 29. Wrapping down 8 and getting some lumber.
The only possible way Bob can miss this would be to hit the cap of the wood on the right nap and get it.
Was to let me throw the ball.
Maybe that. That's the second possible way, I guess.
He now has 8 spares along with a couple of strikes. Spare 4 in the first, then an 8, now a spare. Oh. Yes, he drops down 9. Thought he was going to come up with a home run ball. Hoping to spare it up again.
Hoping for the wood to stay down so that the wood will go right into the pin as opposed to over or around it.
Kelly with an average of a 124.
Gotcha. Oh, it did go around it. I think he thought he had it too.
Look at his face. There's some upset.
This amazing game of candlepins. You're never down until they're down.
That's right. Candlepin bowling, fun for all ages.
Frustration for all ages sometimes too, Bob.
You got it, Don Riley. Here's Dan Murphy as he moves into the 3rd box here in the final string. How about that, candlepin fan? Dan hoping to climb out of this one.
What a try. He's almost always on the object pin. Oh, 310. We're going to see another 400. Dan's going to get the marks rolling for us here. I wouldn't be surprised if he does.
Drop of 9. He's going to try to go pin picking, but it's not going to be that difficult because he got a piece of lumber down there.
Well, this piece of wood is resting right against the pin, so the pin has no choice but to fall as opposed to what had just happened to Bob Kelly.
11 spares along with 2 strikes for Murphy. Here's Kelly. Kelly down in this string by 11, down in the match by 28.
I think you meant Bobby's up by 11 this string.
Excuse me. You're right.
Now, he wants to go for the cap of the wood on the right and send everything to the left. Just like that.
Yes. How how sweet it was. What a sweet shot here on Big Shot Bowling.
Okay, the cap of the wood, the left of the 6 pins, off to the side wall, and down goes the 4.
And another spare leave by Kelly. He has a 7, Phil.
Stay down, Wood.
It can be tricky, as Bob witnessed a couple of boxes ago.
This is the same type of shot, almost. Yeah, this one he got right off the wall. He sort of niched it in there.
He overpowered the pins that time.
Yep.
So 4 spares for Kelly here in the final string. Murphy working on a spare. Murphy leading by 28.
Okay.
Danny Boy with the home run ball. The strike on the spare as it unfolds again.
1-2 pocket off the side wall. The last pin to go is the 8.
Murphy looking for the double. No.
No, but he got a break there when that pin came back with it. So spare leaf that would be a little bit more easily converted than if it had stayed up.
Oh, yes. Beautiful shot executed by the champ. And we're going to take a break right here on Big Shot Bowling in the final string. Both guys on fire now. Murphy leading in the match by 41. We'll be back with the final 4 after we pause. Final 4 boxes. Here is Bob Kelly, and Kelly trailing by 41 pins.
It isn't really that Bob has bowled that poorly. It's just that Dan has bowled that well.
Yeah, Kelly has 10 spares and a couple of strikes. Here's another spare. 11 spares for Kelly. He's had strings of 130, 114. And now in this string, he's had 5 spares, 3 in a row.
Still looming is a big part of the difference of the match was the first 4 boxes of the first string where Bob just couldn't get going.
Well, he lifted off with a 5 count. And then he had a couple of 8s and a 10, and then he finally got a mark. A spare 4 on the score sheet for Kelly.
Ooh, it tapped it, but it didn't tap the other one.
Got a 10. 111 now for Kelly with 2 to go. He's in a heap of trouble against our defending champ, Dan Murphy. Murphy working on a spare.
Well, this is a nightmarish sort of leave. You just hope for a 9 or a 10 usually when you see this.
He's got 8 down with 1 ball to go. That is 6 on the mark.
He's definitely going to be over the 400 again, Bob.
An 8 count. At this time, we'd like to thank the executive producer of Big Shot Bowling, John E. Liggums. Also, thanks to the director, Jim Murphy, and his staff.
Next week, Dan will be facing Alan Joy from Westbrook, Maine, who was the 1985 Maine state champion. So another formidable challenge for Dan. Oh.
Aha. 1 ball left, 5 pins to go.
Shoot for the wood and hope.
Hey, how about that? Is it going to happen? Well, a 9 is mighty healthy after that lead.
I guess.
A 103 for Murphy, a 111 for Kelly in the final string. 2 to go for each guy. The winner of the show will get a shot at the 7-10 lead, and if he converts it, he'll win himself a 1985 Thunderbird, compliments of Duddy Ford.
Try again. Bob had that leave or some derivative of it a couple of times. He almost made it once, and he gave it another good try then.
9 count. 120 with 1 left for Kelly. Kelly with an average of a 124, his best high single of 210, and his best triple of 477.
Here's the strike ball.
Now, if he can get a couple of more, he'll win himself a trip for two to Atlantic City. Compliments of
One, two,
on
pocket.
travel.
Everything goes down together.
Pocket
Throws a
rocket.
strike. When he throws a strike, they just all mesh.
3 strikes for Kelly. Come on, get over.
Get over.
3 strikes, 11 spares. It should be 3 and 12 after this ball.
Sure is.
That it is. And a total of a 140, an outstanding 140 for Bob Kelly. Along with a 130 and a 114 for a 384. Mighty healthy, but he's up against Dynamite Dan right now.
Dan's already got 386.
It's all over but the shouting. At this time, I'd like to thank our statistician here in the press box, Michelle Jackson. This is her final show with us here on Big Shot Bowling. She could only stand me for about 13 shows, She's heading south. Thanks a lot, Michelle, for a superlative job over the last 13 weeks. A 9-box, a 112 with 1 to go.
Is that? Leave again. I've never seen that come up so much in my life anywhere. Make it, Dan. That's all. We'll get rid of it once and for all. Well, not this time.
Dan's going to pick up his second win in a row. He'll get a couple of $100 and a shot at the Thunderbird.
This makes 7 televised matches in a row that Dan Murphy has hit a score of 400 or better. You just can't bowl better than that. I've never seen anyone do that.
A 10-box and a 122. And a 3-string count of a 4-0-5. Murphy beating Bob Kelly 405 to 384, and Dan Murphy will have a shot at the Thunderbird right after we come back. To remind you that the Bay State Bombardiers are going to be back in action, and if we can put it up on the screen, we'll tell you how you can get your season tickets. Here we go. The Bay State Bombardiers will be at the Worcester Memorial Auditorium. Order your season tickets now. Call area code 617-792-1300. Exciting AAA basketball, and my partner Don Riley here has a Bay State Bombardier hat on, and if you order the tickets right now and you say that you ordering because of Big Shot Bowling, you'll get yourself a nice cap like Don Riley has a Bay State Bombardier cap valued at $6.95. And Don, you look absolutely superlative in it.
My first professional modeling job. I hope I'm doing a worthy job at it. Effort at making one anyway.
Well, we had a great bowling show here. It was Dan Murphy winning for the second week in a row as he beat Bob Kelly 408 to a 384. And come on up, Bob Kelly. Here's Bob Kelly, the runner-up. Bob, turn around and face the crowd and the camera. What about your bowling? I thought you were absolutely tough once you got it rolling.
Yeah, I got rolling for a while, and Dan came right back and answered, but his fills were a lot higher than mine on the marks, and that would hurt me most of the day.
That's right. Both guys had 3 strikes and a dozen spares.
Yeah, like I said, he's getting 8s and 9s, and I was getting 3s and 4s. It's a big difference, when you won, 9 marks, 9 spares. And that was a big difference in the match today.
Well, right now, Don Riley, the guy who has a Bay State Bombardier cap on, has a trophy for you. We'll also have $100 for you.
Congratulations, Bob, on making the show, and certainly a very credible performance, 384. Nothing the matter with that score except 405 beats it, I'm afraid.
His parents say stay away from fire, and Danny's on fire right now, and, he's going to be hard to beat.
Thanks again, Bob Kelly. Let's hear it for Robert Kelly, who came in second, had an outstanding 384, strings of 130, 114, and a 140 game. And now it's going to be Dan Murphy, the champ. Dan is going to go after the 710 leave, and if he gets it, folks, he's going to have him So, an automobile, a 1985 Thunderbird, compliments of Duddy Ford, Route 9 in Westboro. Let's wish him well, going after the 7 and the 10. No! Danny gave it the old college try, went after the 7 and the 10. And Dan, what about the 7? The 7 pin was the one you were chasing down.
Well, everyone's been going for the 10 pin. I think I changed. I let them go for the 7 pin. I'm going back to the 10 pin.
Dan, what about your performance? Another 400 match. You were absolutely superlative.
Well, I was hitting head pin real good with that first ball, but even with a 39 pin lead, Bobby Kelly's got a 210 high single to his credit, and he came right after me. And we get a lead, sometimes you get a little defensive, and I had to remind myself that I'm only a couple pins up rather than 39 and go after him again, because he throw that big game, and things turn around.
Well, as we told Kelly, and we'll tell you, you both had 3 strikes and a dozen spares, but you had the bigger fills.
Yeah, he got off to a slow start, too. And I got a good jump early, and one of those things. Bobby's a quality bowler, as all the WCBC bowlers are, and you can't turn your head. They'll be right after you.
Well, another couple of $100 and also a trophy from George Gerton Trophy Center, the championship trophy, and here's Don Riley to make the presentation.
Congratulations, Dan. The streak is intact. I've watched you bowl 7 matches on TV and 7 400s. 2 of them here, and we'll look for another one next week.
Well, once again, Dan Murphy, keep it cooking. We'll look forward to seeing you next week here on Big Shot Bowling.
Thanks, Bob.
Our defending champ, and he'll be back next week, Dan Murphy. And Don Riley, what about Dan's opponent next week?
Next week, Dan will be bowling Alan Joy, who's another perennial top 10 finisher on the Pro Tour, and he's the current 1985 Maine State champion. And he's a very explosive bowler, too. Dan won't have an easy match there either, I'm sure.
We're looking for another exciting match here on Big Shot Bowling. This is Bob Fouracre, along with my partner, Don Riley, and the entire crew, thanking you for being with us, and reminding you once again, the champ, Dan Murphy. He'll be back next week to take on Alan Joy. For all of us here on Big Shot Bowling, we bid you a very pleasant goodbye.